Okay, let's see if this will work better. If people can hear me. As people start to come in, let's see if you can hear me. If you can hear me, hi Krista. All right, Facebook, let me know if you can hear me. Hi, thanks Michelle for hanging in there. Little technical difficulties today. We're gonna work it out. So let's see. I think maybe Michelle, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Facebook's having a little bit of technical difficulties. See if we can get that worked out, because I was saying it's storming and I didn't know how long the internet was going to hold out, and then it did not. So all right, well hopefully people on there, okay, we can hear me on Facebook. That's great. Okay, and we can hear me on Instagram hopefully. So the humidity is doing crazy things to me here. We're going to yay, we can hear. Okay, so what I was starting to say is that we are at the tail end of the full moon, right? So the full moon was yesterday, and so we have the tail end of the full moon, so things are a little weird. And then I was also about to say, when we found out you couldn't hear me to say it, Mercury retrograde is going to start on the 5th of August, and so we know there's a 2-week window before the retrograde officially kicks in, before the planets actually go retrograde. There's this 2-week window as we're getting close enough to the planets, to Mercury, to the Earth, to those ellipses of the orbits closing in on each other, that we start to feel the effects of Mercury retrograde starting to kick in. So when does that start? Today. So I don't know about you, but I've been feeling a little bit prickly today. I've been feeling a little bit overtired, and a little, like I've been having some trouble with technology today. So if that's happening for you, then just know that. And I've got my selenite ball, right? This gorgeous, gorgeous ball of selenite. Look how it does with the light. It's so fantastic. I got this at the ARE in Virginia Beach. It is one of my favorite things. When I found it in the store, I literally couldn't put it down, and I kept doing this for about a half hour while I was in the store talking to some other people, and I said, oh, I guess this is mine now. So the point to say of the selenite ball is for you to, because for me this is self-care, not only just having it in my hand, the fidgets, but also to have, because selenite is a cleansing crystal, so to be able to have this in your hand to do something that is cleansing for you. I also use, where's my fidget cube? I have a fidget cube, which I find to be very helpful, except now I can't find my cube. It's not helpful if you can't find it. Oh, heavens. It was right here on my desk because I fidget. And now I cannot find my fidget cube. Someone has fidgeted with my fidget cube. Ah! Someone has fidgeted with my fidget cube. So this is like a little thing. It's got different little things on each side so that you can, fidget. It's called a fidget cube, and this is super handy, especially if you're a little ADD or a little, especially if you're an empath, or something, and you just need a little left brain distraction. Things like this are really good. Chris says she goes back and forth between the crystal ball and the dandelion etched inside, and a crystal ball with a dandelion inside and a koosh ball. Yes, so that's kind of the same thing, because this is more sensory, like a koosh ball would be. So hello. All right, so there's a lot that's going on, and even more that I'm going to tell you about. So we're also not only in the time of, so hang on, because my notes, where are my notes? Interesting. All right, let me find my notes. So we're not only in the time of this Mercury retrograde, but we are also, let me find my notes. Okay, hang on. Hold, please. I had all these notes for you all, and they have moved. Okay, so we had the Capricorn full moon. We talked about that. And the Capricorn full moon is really asking us to take a hard look at where we might be stuck. It's also a really good opportunity to be looking at relationships, relationships between people, relationships in like a pair bond relationship. But this is really an important time with Capricorn. It's a really important time to be going and looking at the places where you're stuck. So if you've been feeling like you've been trying to go forward in a certain direction and it's not coming together, like it's not happening, some people will say, well, maybe the universe doesn't want me to have that. And I'm like, I don't buy that at all. So I don't. If it's in your heart, if it's in something you've come to and you're like, this is what I want, then the universe wants you to have it. Okay, the universe doesn't put things into our heart or into our mind without saying, yes, we understand this is what you want. We're going to help you get it. The problem is that the universe might not be ready to give it to us because we're not ready to receive it. Okay, so we may not be ready. I use this analogy a lot. I think it's really super helpful. My husband and I, for a long, long time, we had financial issues. A lot of young couples, we have financial issues. And so we had to learn to work together. We had to learn to be the people who could be trusted, the universe could trust with a lot of money. That we weren't going to spend it on, a sports car. We weren't going to squander it. We were going to be responsible. We understood about saving. We understood about, interest rates and paying off credit cards and just being responsible stewards of money. And so when you prove that you can be trusted with something, the universe will give you more. So we realized that we were stuck in this place. Oh, sorry, puppy. Sorry, puppy. And so we needed to become the people who could be entrusted with more. And once we were entrusted with more, the things we had been asking the universe for came in. Okay, so if you're feeling a bit stuck, it is really about asking, it's not about changing what you want. Okay, it's not about changing what you've asked for, but it is about taking a hard look. Okay, so the universe is asking us right now in this period of time, because it's not just the full moon in Capricorn. And by the by, this is the second full moon in Capricorn in this month. Okay, so this is the second Capricorn full moon, because the way the moons lined up, we had a full moon at the beginning of the month, we're having a full moon at the end of the month. So this is a really important time for us to take a hard look at ourselves. Okay, so we want to stop worrying, we want to stop wishing and whining, and and again, it's not saying anybody is, but this is a time we want to really get straight with ourselves, and also we want to stop worrying about leading the horses to water. We want to stop beating the dead horses. We want to allow people on their own journey, right? It's not our job to save everybody. It's not our job to fix everybody. And so if we stay in our lane and we're not, continuing to try and lead other horses to the water, but we're also not trying to beat the dead horse. Okay, so we keep looking at the thing going, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? I'm stuck. I'm banging my head against the wall. Why isn't this happening? And we're looking around at what's going on. I'm just like, why isn't this working? What am I missing? And what Capricorn full moon is saying to us is we need to hold up that mirror. We need to take a mirror to ourselves and we need to say, okay, am I looking straight in the eye, which is not always easy? Am I now, right this minute, the person, the kind of person, the level of person who is able to receive responsibly and multitudinally, expansively, to receive what I have asked the universe to give? If the answer is yes, okay, then great. Now we want to go back to looking around to external things. But the question for most of us really is, am I right now ready to receive this? If this plopped in my lap right now, would I be ready to receive it? And the answer for a lot of us is no. So for us to be able to say, what do I need to change or shift, adjust, learn, grow in order to become the person who is ready to receive, willing, able, capable of receiving? Okay, because let's say if I, or somebody, a lottery, whatever, and if you won $1 million right now, would you plop it all in a savings account and then not even look at it because you couldn't handle it? Would you go out and buy a Ferrari or a house or something? Or would you pay off debt? Would you immediately take half of it and put it away for, savings and invest it? Would you, set aside enough, some amount for taxes? Do you have a financial professional you could trust, a lawyer you could trust? Do you have systems in place to allow you and that support you in being the person who could receive what you have asked for? Because honestly, for right now, I think if $1 million plopped in my lap, I might have to take a minute and be like, Okay. But the reality is, we do have systems in place. We do. We have systems in place. We do have systems in place. We have worked hard to put those systems in place to be the people who could receive $1 million that plops right into our lap. Okay, and it's I want to say this carefully. I'm using this as an example, but I am not opposed if the universe wants to plop that down. So okay, I don't want to we don't want the universe to feel disrespected. But we use this as the example, okay? So what do we need to do? What do we need to learn and grow and shift, release, to look at? And so Capricorn full moon number 2 asks us to really take a hard look at ourselves and say, okay, because so often when things are not going, when we feel like we're stuck, we are looking around at what else is to blame. And Capricorn full moon number 2 says, hey, let's look here. Okay, let's look here and see what it is that we need to shift. Now, the other part of it is we are so capable of shifting because the universe wouldn't have given us this stuff to say, I want $1 million, if we were not capable of becoming the people who could receive it. Now, keeping in mind, as I said, this is a sticky full moon. Okay, this is a sticky full moon, and this is also the start of the window for Mercury retrograde that is going on right now. So retrograde will officially start next week on Tuesday, I believe. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that, or 2 weeks. It starts but we start the window today. So if you're feeling a little prickly and you're feeling a little like unsettled, this is part of it. So we don't want to immediately go out and I suck, because no, we don't have negative self-talk here. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to really look at with this Capricorn full moon. Now the other part of that is, again, we're not trying to lead everyone else's horse. We're trying to work on our own, okay? The other part is that Capricorn, this energy of Capricorn is focusing a lot on our public life. So how we are showing up in the world and what is it that we are showing out to others, and is that the truth of who we are? Are we sending out and putting out to the world our public persona? Is that our authentic self? Now, I understand that there are times when we have to be protected, okay? When I was in England in April, there was a huge pro-Palestinian march in the city, and as I was on the tube going back to my hotel, the march was over, and tons of young people, and I'm not talking about the politics of it, I'm simply saying that as a Jewish person, a woman, traveling alone in a foreign country, it was my choice for me personally to put my Jewish star inside my shirt, okay? Thankfully it was a little bit chilly, so nobody noticed. And it's not but that was a moment where I chose not to show my authentic self to the world because it was nobody else's business, okay? So I'm not talking about that because we understand that there are times. I'm talking about as you live your life in the most general sense, as you go about your day, as you interact with people, are you being your most authentic self? Are you living the truth of who you are if it is safe for you to do so? Okay, now if you live in a very red area and you are, someone who might be transgender or something, you want to take precautions, please, to protect yourself because people don't always understand and people can be cruel. So again, I'm not talking about that. I am talking about in your close circle in your relationships and how you interact with people. Are you being true to yourself? And are your actions lining up with what's in your heart? So when I say, it would be really great if the universe dropped $1 million on, down, I feel like I can say that it's not going to happen because that's not the thing I want. That's not in alignment with what's in my heart. And so are you in alignment with what's in your heart? I know what's in my heart, and when I ask the universe for that, that is in my heart, right? The feeling, the wonder, the joy, the gratitude of it, those are the things we manifest, not I should ask for $1 million because that'd be a good thing to ask for, so I'm going to ask for that. That's not in alignment. So are your dreams, your heart, your wishes, are they in alignment with your words and your actions? So this is what I mean when I'm talking about being in your authenticity. It's not so much about what you look like when you go out of your house, but are your words and your deeds and your intentions in alignment with your heart? That's living in your authenticity, okay? And so this is another piece that Capricorn really pushes us to move into our and show up into our most authentic selves. Okay, so that's another piece for the Capricorn full moon, especially the second one, because it's the same kind of message that comes in on the first one, but the second one is like, can you hear me now? Which I think is hilarious that we started with audio issues. One, because of Mercury retrograde, and two, because this second Capricorn full moon is all about, can you hear me now? You obviously didn't get the message the first time around, so I'm coming back around the second time. Okay. This is a time for us to be very mindful about what we want to achieve in the world, without neglecting our feelings, without neglecting that inner feelings, right? Again, being in that alignment. This is also, there's at the same time, just to add a little bit more complication, Jupiter and Venus are lining up right now, okay? And these planets, now we're going to be coming into some eclipses over the next couple of months, but Jupiter and which we know the eclipses, they really intensify things, but Jupiter and Venus are coming together right now, and this is about relationships, right? Venus is the planet of the heart, and so Jupiter and Venus are coming together right now, and they're lining up for us to really look at what kind of a relationship do we want to have. What are you looking for in a partner, whether it's a romantic partner, a business partner, what have you? So this is really important, and it's not just those kind of partnerships, it's relationships as well. So, and remembering that this is a full moon, so a lot of what we are looking at in a full moon is what are we letting go. So yesterday I felt very called to reach out to the daughter of a friend of mine. Well, let me say that differently. Yesterday I felt very called to reach out to the daughter of a former friend, and to just say, listen, I know that stuff went down with your mom and I, and you are still very important to me, and you are an adult now. I would love to talk to you. If you don't want to talk to me, it's totally fine. I just thought I would reach out because full moon, relationships, this is, Venus and Jupiter. I said, this is a time to really reassess relationships and to get some clarity. And so this has been sitting in me, on my heart for a while, and so this is clearly the time. Because remember, retrograde helps bring things up. Full moon brings things up. What do we need to let go? And so I sent this message to her, and I said, listen, I love you, regardless if you want to talk to me, you don't want to talk to me, but you're an adult now, and I would love to talk to you. And so I waited, and I looked at the message this morning, and she has unfriended me. And that's fine. That's totally her prerogative, because that's what her mother is probably telling her to do, and that is fine. But that gives us the closure on the relationship, because we looked at the relationship, we looked at Jupiter and Venus. I said, I have a lot of love in my heart for this person. I will always have a lot of love in my heart for this person and for her mother, her and her whole family. But this is what I wanted to do, to show up in my authenticity of something that's been kind of rolling around in my heart, to be able to say, okay, this is something I want to address, and I release the outcome. Okay, this is another part of it. We release the outcome. I'm not tied to the outcome. If she wants to talk to me, great. If she doesn't want to talk to me, that's totally fine. I know that I did my part, and I have no longer need to beat the horse. I no longer need to try and drag the horse to the water. I can say, okay, I looked at that situation, I did what I need to do, and I was open to whatever the outcome was. We are not tied to the outcome, okay? When we are looking at these things with relationships, we are looking for the qualities. We're putting out there the list, like if you're looking for a romantic partner or a business partner, you want to look at and say, this is what I want. What is it I want? What qualities do I want? And you want to write them down, you want to look at them, and you want to send that out to the universe, because this is that time of creation and manifestation, right? So that we are prepared for, we usually do that closer to the new moon, but with this conjunction of Saturn, of Jupiter and Venus, is a great time to be looking at what those qualities are, and so getting clear in your mind, so that you can then either send it out to the universe now, before we get too deep into Mercury retrograde, where things are going to come up, because then we get tied to the outcomes, right? And so when we're looking at this time of full moon, we're releasing things. So if we can get clear and say, this is what I want, I'm releasing the outcome, because this is the time of the releasing, is the full moon. When we get an answer we want or don't want, we're able to say, okay, I'm moving on, okay? And, that's not always as easy as it sounds, but we are much more prepared to say, okay, this is the time of releasing, or this is the time of creating, as we are in the full or the new moon, okay? We don't want to make big decisions when we get into retrograde. So this is why I felt like I was kind of pulled to do this yesterday. Yesterday was more into the full moon. We still have this full moon energy for today to, into by noonish Eastern time tomorrow. We're going to start moving out of it. So it's not too late, but this is really important, of what's going on in the universe for us right now. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on from that. All right. So we're going to I'll put I have a very fancy storage system for my selenite ball. It's a cup on my desk. It's a cup from a coffee station at a hotel. It's very fancy. If anybody has a better idea for home for but I like it because it fits perfectly in there and I don't have to worry about it rolling away. But if you have a better idea, please let me know. All right, so we're going to start with our animal spirit card. Really, have a specific animal I want to reach out to about today, but just to grab an animal spirit. It was really interesting yesterday. We went down to Miami to see my different girlfriend's daughter in a play. Fabulous. The kids all did a fabulous job. It was really wonderful to see. Hard not to cry, I know her since before she was born. But we were driving back in the Uber back to the train station, and I caught a glimpse of this building that when I was a kid was like the big, high building, the really iconic building of the Miami skyline. And now that you could see from the highway, like it wasn't the beach skyline, it was the city skyline, and down in Miami. And when we drove by yesterday, you could hardly see it because there's this giant new building that's in front of it, and all these much taller buildings have grown up. And I couldn't see it on the way down, but as we were coming back, I caught a little glimpse of it, and then but the top of this building, we used to call it it's the Miami Courthouse, and we used to call it the Vulture Building because it always had all these giant black birds flying around the top. It looked like something out of like Wizard of Oz or a movie, like a scary movie. We always had these big crows and big black birds that were flying around the top of this building. It was a skyscraper at the time, but such a fun thing about how things change. So I had thought about the vultures, but when I went to pick up our animal spirit cards, I was like, I didn't really have anything. So we pull up Cardinal. So as I'm shuffling, Cardinal is always a bird of love. Cardinal is a bird of love. Cardinal is a bird of guidance. Cardinal comes from our loved ones. Loved ones so often will put out the cardinal to cross our paths to show us that we're here, we love you, we see you, we want to guide you. So Cardinal is a bird of love and of guidance. And the card says, the polarities of your spiritual pursuits and physical pleasures are out of balance. Now, isn't that interesting for what we've been talking about being in alignment? The polarities of your spiritual and physical pleasures are out of balance. So do whatever is necessary to bring them back into equilibrium. So isn't that so interesting that this card would be exactly talking about getting into alignment for, I hear that, about getting into alignment with ourselves, right? But getting ourselves back into alignment with our intentions, our hearts, our actions, right? Our physical is the action, and our heart and our intention, that's the spiritual. So that's super, super interesting. Okay, I never do this, but I feel like we're being called to do our card readings from the animal cards today. So we're going to stay in this deck. We're going to stay in the Stephen Farmer messages from the animal spirits today, which we don't usually do the readings from that deck, but I feel like we're going to stay there today. Okay, so we're going to grab our first card. Is going to be what's going on. What do we all need to know? And this is the honeybee. Says, let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in the situation. And so this is really important because we want to know as we are going forward and we're trying to get ourselves in alignment. If you have been beating a dead horse, or if you've been dragging a horse to the water, this is the time for you to be like, okay, I'm out. But at the same time, we're not taking with us anger, resentment, anything like that when we're moving away from people. So for my former friend and her daughter, I have no ill will. I just wanted to clean it up. And so we have that. Now, here's the other thing I always want to point out about this honeybee card. You see how he's hollow. Where is he? He's empty inside, right? He's empty inside. There's not any color there. So we know our bees are black and yellow, right? Hopefully. And so we're looking at this and we're seeing that he's empty inside. Now, it's not to say that we are empty inside, but it is to say that we can fill that space with what we choose, right? We are the power to choose what we allow into our space. And so the honeybee says, let compassion and forgiveness be the top priority in the situation. So we've got his head is fully filled in, but then what else are we going to fill in with? What else are we going to allow in? Okay. So what else do we need to know about that situation? So we're going to grab the next card, and what else do we need to know? And remember, these are all animals. So this is interesting because we pull in the spider. Now it does come in upside down, but I don't think, let me just check, because I don't think that this deck has upside down cards having a different meaning. So let me just check. And it is still really thundery out there. So if it gets really bad, we might sometimes lose the connection. So hopefully not. Okay, so this deck does not do upside down. So we have the second card. Is what else do we need to know about this? Is the spider. Now the thing about the spider is, and a lot of people I know are not about spiders. I am not about spiders. I get it. But the spiders are resilient. The spiders are resourceful, and they're smart. And spiders are the cleanup crew, right? The spiders keep us safe because they eat the bugs that might harm us, okay? And I know a spider could bite us too. But this says, trust the creative spark you're feeling and express it through writing stories that inspire and enlighten. Okay, now trust the creative spark you're feeling. Okay, what is that in your heart that you wanted to ask the universe from? Okay, express it through stories that inspire and enlighten. Are you saying what you really want to create? Are you voicing and putting out to the world in alignment with what you want to ask the universe for? Okay, so the spider card is not saying to us we need to write a book. Okay, it's not saying to us we need to write a book. We need to get the story straight in our mind. We need to get the story straight in ourselves. Is my heart in alignment with my words and my actions and putting out my authentic self into the universe? Am I in alignment? And this is what the spider is talking about. So if you see that's a lot of thunder. The spiders, right? If you see these beautiful spider webs, the spiders, nice graphic. The spider webs, they're all straight lines, right? They're all linear, or they're circles. Spider webs can be so beautiful unless you walk into them unintentionally, but spider webs can be so incredibly beautiful, but they're very, very structured. And so they're talking about the framework, the skeletalness. The spider web almost looks like a skeleton, right? It is that skeleton of, the framework of, are you putting these things in alignment? The heart, the voice, the head, the actions. Is this in alignment? And this is what the spider is talking about, okay? So the spider is saying, you've got to get straight in what your story is, okay? So what are the obstacles? What do we need to be aware of? What do we got to look out for, okay? So here we have the peacock. Now peacock, we talk about proud as a peacock, right? So we got to worry about not letting our own ego get in the way, okay? So not letting our ego get in the way, but also we want to not let fear get in the way, because those two things can go together. So we want to make sure we're not letting our ego go. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I saw this amazing movie, and I know it's not a new movie. Oh, look, see, over my shoulder, that's my son. That's my son coming. I saw over the last weekend, I saw, and it's not a new movie, it's called Rustin. Won some Academy Awards, was a lot of nominations. But Bayard Rustin, a fabulous movie, you can get it on Netflix, I think. Bayard Rustin is the black man who was the muscle and the brains behind putting together the Martin Luther King March on Washington way back in the 60s. Okay, he is the one who mobilized everyone. He's the one who planned it. He's the one who organized the people. He's the one who made it happen. I mean, it was a fascinating movie, and it was so quick to watch this movie. It just kept moving along. But he's the one who made it happen. And what was so incredible was at the end, President Kennedy invited all the big leaders of the 10 or 11 big black organizations, NAACP and the ADL and all these other big organizations. President invited all of these big leaders to come to the White House, and they came to Bayard Rustin and said, "Hey, you should be with us." And he said, "No, I don't need to go. I'm just going to sit here and help clean up the mess, the trash from 300,000 people that came." So he was humble in his major accomplishments. He was humble in all the things that don't let Susie out. He was humble in all the things that he had done. He didn't need to, okay, Bo, go see Eli. Oh, that's my leg. Tiny paws, little claws. sharp claws. He was humble in that. And so this is what the peacock reminds us. It says, let yourself stand out and be noticed, but let's not be sucking up all the oxygen. Let's keep our ego in check. Let's be humble while we're doing it. Peacocks are not known for their humility, right? Especially the males. They can be that's where the whole proud as a peacock comes, right? They put their plume out and they start doing like this, right? So we want to make sure that we are keeping our eye on what's important. And for Bayard Rustin, what was important wasn't meeting the president. What was, because the other guys were going to be the leaders of these organizations. They were going to bend his ear to bend policy and all of that. What was important to him was completing the task, was making this dream of this march. The march was his dream. I know the speech was Martin Luther King's dream, but the march was his dream. And so he stayed in his lane, which we've talked about before, and he completed his task. And he was taking pride in the accomplishment as he was picking up trash and folding chairs at the end of the movie. He was taking pride in what they had accomplished. He didn't need to do more. Okay, he had done what he set out to do. And so he took a moment to celebrate it and to revel in it and to be proud, but not boastful. Okay, so the peacock reminds us that we can accomplish amazing things, but it's important for us to stay in our lane and not become all ego-y. He could have gone to the White House. He could have been like, yeah, I put it all together. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. But that was not the important part. The important part is getting the thing done. So as you're looking at what it is that you want to accomplish right now, and staying in that alignment, just make sure that you are understanding that even picking up trash, if it's in furtherance of the goal, is not beneath us, okay? And it's metaphorical trash, okay? But there's nothing that we should be avoidant of doing in the reaching for the completion of our goal. There's nothing we should be like, oh, well, that's, I'm not doing that. That's too beneath me. Because all of that is part of our character and of the part of us becoming the person that we need to become for the universe to give us the things that we want to receive. Okay? So we bring that around full circle. So as we stay humble and we do the little jobs, the universe is preparing us to do the bigger jobs and to have the qualities and the skills and the experiences that we need in order to be ready to handle such a bigger job. Okay? So that's really where we are. So we have the honeybee staying in love and gratitude and forgiveness and compassion. And what are we filling ourselves up with, right? What are we allowing to come in? And the spider of making sure that's in alignment. So we have the structure, the skeleton, the support system, right? Of everything is being in alignment. The heart, the words, the mind, the actions, all of it's in alignment. And the peacock reminds us to stay humble and have humility so that we are not being like too good for any part of it, okay? Because if it's your goal and you're dreaming it and you're doing it, then you should be proud to do it. You should be proud of working on it, and you should know that all aspects of it. It's like that, what was that TV show where the boss, like the company owner, like undercover boss, right? So we have to be our own undercover boss, right? Where we go in and we say, okay, if I was going to start at the bottom, like what do I need to know so that we can learn all the things that we need to know in order to become that person, okay? All right, so let's do a couple of cards. So if you would like to have a card, a lot of information today. I know it's a lot of information today. There's a lot going on out there. So there's a lot of going on. So if you would like to have, now here's one more thing I want to say before we go. So if you would like to have a card, throw it in the comments and we'll do that. I want to say, and you'll see this on my on my Facebook page, you'll see it on my website. There is another class that I have been asked to teach for the Journey Within Spiritualist Union's National Church in New Jersey. It's a Zoom class. It's going to be online. If you are a healer, a light worker, a reader, a communicator, somebody with a small business, or you're trying to have a business, or you're thinking like, oh, I know how to do this now and I want to start a business about it, I am teaching a class for the Journey Within Spiritualist National Union Church on August 11th that is all about helping you get your business off the ground. It's going to be a lot of meat, potatoes. It's going to be a lot of a real practical information on how do you get your business off the ground. We will not be talking about like, I'm going to be a corporation or incorporated. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the small business for people who have taken the classes, who feel like they're ready to go. They're ready to start a business. They're already seeing some clients. They're not really sure, like, what about money and the schedule and the taxes and all the stuff. And we're going to show you in a 2-hour class and hopefully answer a lot of questions. And we're going to be teaching people how to build the business, how to get the framework for the business aspect of it. So if you are somebody who would like to participate in that, I know this is a little bit more specialized than the Unspooling Your DNA class that I just taught for them earlier this month. But if this is something that resonates with you, you'll see the flyer for it and is pinned in on this page. It's also on the front page of my website. So definitely check it out. You can also go to the journeywithin.org. I think it's journeywithin.org, and you can click on their events, and we'll be sending that out to everyone. If you're on my email list, if you're not on my email list and you want to be on my email list, please DM me and send me your email address. Please do not put it in the chat. But if you want to be on my email list and you're not getting my newsletter and you're not getting these events and things that are going on, please make sure you're on my email list. DM me, send me your email address, okay? All right, so we've got Belinda and Ellen, and we've got, okay, so Belinda, this is, and again, this is the animal. This is not about you because the card is the weasel. So it's not saying that Belinda is a weasel. We are not saying that. But the weasel says, be silent, pay attention, and observe with your eyes, your ears, and your feelings of what is happening inside you and around you. So Belinda, this is really, I know you said before you were stuck, so this is really talking about you getting quiet and spending some time to get in alignment with yourself, okay? Because it feels like you are really looking around to be like, well, what do I need to fix out there? And the weasel is saying, no, we need to get inside. We need to get underground. The weasels live underground. The weasels live in little tunnels. They live underground, and they're little mounds. And the weasel is saying, you've got to really take a strong look inside. And I will tell you, because they're digging, the weasels are burrowers, right? So we're talking about really looking deep down, okay? So Belinda, I would start seriously. I would start with the root chakra, the base chakra, and I would say, what am I missing? What is not in alignment with my basic needs, right? And if you know, like the Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs, it really does go in alignment with a lot of stuff that's in our chakras, right? So the base chakra, the root chakra, is, do I have, food and shelter? Like, what are my basic needs? Like, do I have a place to live, that I feel okay, I'm comfortable, I'm safe? Do I have enough food? It's looking at those things. And it's like, what is it that feels unsettled in that root chakra, right at the base of the spine? And then looking at the sacral chakra, okay, that is the orange one. So we have the red, the orange, we're going up the yellow, solar plexus. And Belinda, really take some time to sit and look through your chakras and feel into that sacral chakra. That's going to be between your pubic bone and your belly button. And say, okay, this is about my relationships to others. This is about blood flow, fluidity, and looking at what it is that is feeling like. This is deep dive. Okay, so Belinda, this card is talking to you about, we don't need to go through all 7 chakras, but this card is talking to you about having a deep dive into what is going on with you, because it feels like there's been something that has, like, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, and so this weasel card is talking about what is it that you need to do to, like, have that deep dive. Okay, so that's where you are. All right, Ellen. Okay, all right, and so I am pulling these cards to the side. So if we've pulled the card, I am putting the card to the side so that we are not getting a duplicate card today. Okay, so all right, so we have Ellen. So this is the goose, the Canadian goose, Canadian geese. It says, take time to rest, recuperate, rather than continue your striving. So Ellen, this is that self-care is the priority, and it is okay for you to take some downtime. It is okay for you to say, I am off today. It is okay for you to say, yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, so this is about rest and recuperation. This is about self-care. This is about prioritizing the quiet time so that you can regenerate. Okay, so maybe you need to take a walk in the woods, maybe you need to swim in the pool, maybe you need to take a bath with some Epsom salts and lavender. This is something to get you connected back to yourself, because when they feel into this, what I feel is this misalignment of, like, they show people like in the movies where they're sort of out of phase, and it just feels like they're like not quite in the right phase. And so Ellen, it feels like you might be a little bit out of the phase. So we want to get you, like, back back in that alignment. Okay, so it's a priority of self-care for you. Okay, Belinda, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. All right, for my dear Chris, my dear Chris. So this is the mountain goat. I love this. I love this because the mountain goat climbs up so high. The mountain goat climbs high, right? And the mountain goat can climb so many obstacles, okay? So there's something out of balance in your life, so do whatever you need to do to correct it. Now, I love this because, now Chris is a personal friend, and so I want to say I love this because I know you are actively taking steps to do this, and I want to show you that this mountain goat is climbing up. He's not climbing down, okay? He is climbing up. And so this is a really affirmative card for you that you are absolutely on the right track and the things you're doing in the direction that you're going in. So keep going. So this is telling you that when things are going to get complicated between now and the countdown, right? And so we know we have this countdown. So when you are getting frustrated, just come back to the mountain goat card and be remembering that you can climb so many mountains. You have already climbed so many mountains, and the mountain goat can go up and over the obstacles. Remember the old thing we used to say, I can go up and over and around and through any obstacle that comes my way, right? So this is the mountain goat. This is total confirmation for you. I want you to remember that. Okay, so what they're telling you is you have the tools. You have the tools, you have it within you to climb up and over and around and through any obstacle that's coming your way. Because there's going to be some bumps between now and the moving day, okay? But you've got this. You've 100% got this. All right, Catherine, absolutely. I see you. I see you. All right, so now we're going to do one for Krista over in the Instagram as well. All right, so Catherine, this is the condor. The condor is big black bird. The condor says you are too enmeshed in the situation. Take a step back, see the bigger picture before making any decisions or taking action. Now, this is something I want to encourage you to do quickly because remember, as of today, we enter the shadow of Mercury retrograde, okay? So, oh, look, a spammer. We haven't had one of those in a while. You are banned. See ya, bye. See ya. Wow, we haven't had a spammer in a while. I do have some people impersonating me. So I do have some people on Facebook that are impersonating me. So if somebody is impersonating me and approaches you and says, hey, send me money, please, make sure you verify with me first because I don't really do that unless you have already booked an appointment with me and you have, we've communicated. Okay. I will go over, I will go under, I will go around, any obstacles. Yes, absolutely. Well, the cards are always listening, right? The cards are always right. Okay, so we're going to go back to Catherine. So, Chris, I absolutely believe that you can. All right, so Catherine, the condor, is talking about there's some kind of conflict. Now, I know, I'm not sure when you came in, Catherine, so you might want to go back and listen to the front part of our time today because this is really about really getting clear with ourselves, getting clear and getting in alignment with ourselves. And this is really talking about not letting somebody else influence you. Okay, this is about you getting clear on your own, like making your own decisions and not getting into like someone else making decisions for you. Okay, the condor is a big, strong bird. Okay, the condors fly long distances. They get like eagles up on the waves of air, and they float and they soar on the air and they fly long distances. They are incredibly strong and powerful birds. So this is telling you that you are very strong and powerful, but you're also getting too involved in something that may not be for you. Okay, so one of the things we talked about before with what's going on in the planets right now is it's time for us to stop dragging the horse to the water, stop beating the dead horse, stop trying to make the situation be how we want it, and for other people to bend to our will, and just take. So this card is taking that step back. It's saying take this step back and say, okay, you know what? Release the outcome, Catherine, to be able to say, this is what I need for me, this is what I want to do for me, this is where I'm going for me, and this is how I'm going to go. And if you all want to come along, that's really great. And if you don't want to come along, that is totally fine. And this is where I'm going for myself. Okay, so the condor is telling you to take a step back and release the outcome. Okay, so it says you're too enmeshed in the situation. Step back, see the bigger picture before making any decisions or taking any action. Now, do keep in mind that we are coming, like we just today started into the window of the Mercury retrograde. We don't want to make big decisions in Mercury retrograde. Okay, so whatever we're doing is a bigger decision. You want to try and get some things. It's not always possible. You want to try and get things wrapped up within the next 2 weeks so that you're not making official decisions or like signing contracts and things like that for during the retrograde. Okay, Catherine, you are so welcome. Absolutely. So this was really interesting for me today because we're doing cards that we don't usually get to see a lot of. So I'm going to do one more animal spirit card, and then we'll wrap it up. And again, make sure that you are, if you are a business person or you're wanting to start your business or grow your business, or you're looking for some information about how to run your business better, if you are a light worker or somebody who has, you know, a small business, you're trying to figure it out, just know that we're teaching a class. Again, it's a Zoom class on August 11th, and you can see the post is pinned to the top of the page here. It's also on my website. So we're going to end with the panda. I love that because, you know, they had to send the pandas back to China, and then they sent them right back to San Diego. So we have the pandas. The pandas, it says, create a sacred space for yourself in your home and or your place of work. And so again, this is about self-care. It's about having a place where you can be quiet, a place where you can connect to yourself, because everything we talked about today was about connecting to self, getting in alignment. And the big old cuddly panda bear is reminding us that we've got to get some place where we can just go within. We got to go within, okay? And so that self-care is not selfish. It is a priority. This is time we've got to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, okay? All right, I want to say thank you so much for joining. Remember, I will turn off the comments after we finish so that we don't get any spammers hassling you. I want to say thank you so much for spending time, and I can't wait to see you all next week, and hope you're having a great day. Stay safe if you're in a place with heat, a lot of heat, or these storms. I don't know if you can hear the thunder out there, but definitely stay safe, and always, always, always remember how very much you are loved. Mwah.